Coming up, after an investigation of the Phoenix Police Department, the City Council created an Office of Accountability. But what impact will it have?
Plus, how is the hot Arizona housing market impacting Hispanic families? We have the latest numbers.
And later on Break It Down, why doctors are getting burned out and how the pandemic made it worse.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Lauren Quinlan.
And I'm Molly Hudson. Thank you for joining us. The FDA officially authorized the Pfizer vaccine for kids ages 5 to 11 this afternoon. The emergency use authorization will allow 28 million children to be eligible for the vaccine. Pfizer can now begin shipping a child version of the vaccine to sites across the nation. However, the CDC will still need to approve the vaccine before kids can start getting shots.
The U.S. Justice Department launched an investigation into the Phoenix Police Department over allegations of excessive use of force last August. Cronkite News reporter Shayla Dubon shares how a new Office of Accountability hopes to change the way police complaints are handled.
Activist Salvador Reza helps day laborers. He says he has witnessed some police officers harassing them,
persecuting them, and they were lending off-duty officers and vehicles to basically harass the day laborers and don't let them go to work.
The new director of the Office of Accountability and Transparency's job is monitoring the actions of the Phoenix Police Department. Carlos Garcia was a community activist. Now, as a newly elected vice mayor, has big hopes for the new director.
Is the ability for both people to come to them with these complaints, but also for those complaints to be public.
Now, the Office of Accountability and Transparency will be able to conduct full investigations into the police department. Some think it will help, but others are more skeptical. Reza believes that police officers need to understand the culture of the communities that they serve.
And the police have to change their approach to be community policemen, not necessarily occupiers that go in and occupy an area.
I now have a responsibility with constituents of District 8, along with those families that have been impacted with police, to make sure that we hold particularly this police department accountable.
In Phoenix, Shayla Dubon, Cronkite News.
As of today, there are 3 finalists for the director position for the city's Police Accountability Office.
Arizona taxpayers are paying one of the last big bills from former Maricopa County Sheriff Joe Arpaio. The bills are from thousands of lawsuits, and it totals up to more than $100 million. The newest payout is $3.1 million to a restaurant owner who claims Arpaio violated his rights. Most of this money is from attorney fees and settlements for things that happened during Arpaio's 6 terms, including jail deaths, failed investigations of the sheriff's enemies, and immigration raids.
Today marks the 25th Dados event hosted by the Arizona Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Every year, the AZHCC creates a report that outlines the impact Hispanics have on our economy. The focus this year is the future of housing in Hispanic communities. Milan Andrade explains from the Google touchscreen.
According to the National Association of the Hispanic Real Estate Professionals, after the 2008 and 2009 housing crisis, the Hispanic community has rebounded about 49%. Although the Hispanic community has more purchasing power, the home buying process has become more competitive.
People that are coming from other states, they sell their homes over there. They have hundreds of thousands of available cash, and they can just pay cash here. So, I mean, if you sell a home here, I mean, if you have 100,000, that's good. But someone else can come in and say, I'll pay the entire loan, 300,000, 400,000, just cash.
Despite these challenges, recent findings this year from AZHCC states that the Phoenix, Mesa, and Scottsdale areas rank top 20 markets with the most mortgage-ready millennials. And 70% of new homeowners will be Latino between 2020 and 2040. At the Google touchscreen, Milan Andrade, Cronkite News.
Coming up, a new policy is going into effect that could close popular hiking trails on the hottest days. Why Phoenix decided to make the temporary closure policy more permanent.
Broomsticks and pointy hats often come to mind when people think of witches. However, that's not the case for one retired elementary school teacher who calls herself a witch. We'll explain coming up.
Passport is adding new shows and doubling the number of episodes for you to stream. For the first time ever, our most popular programs have been selected just for you.
But there's so much more.
Whether you like to travel,
wow,
feast,
and calories don't count.
Look back.
That is me.
Discover.
You know the whole story.
There's something for everyone.
Let's get to it right away.
Stream on any device with Passport on the PBS Video app.
What you get from Washington Week that you will not get anywhere else are the best and the brightest reporters from different media companies, and they're able to have a real conversation about things that are happening in Washington and around the country. But it's also a show about issues that are relevant to different communities.
How do you think that,
as the moderator, I feel this deep responsibility to bring in those other perspectives so that people understand how power and politics impact their daily lives.
Friday nights at 7 on Arizona PBS.
Cronkite News provides students at ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism with the opportunity to gain real-world experience in the newsroom. At Cronkite News, our students produce professional content for audiences by taking on all roles, whether they be reporting, anchoring, producing, or studio production. Each department gives students first-hand professional newsroom experience. For more information, visit cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
A new policy approved yesterday will close some popular Phoenix hiking trails on days of extreme heat. The Phoenix Parks and Recreation Board made the once temporary policy more permanent for trails on Camelback Mountain and Payestoa Peak. From the hours between 11 a.m. and 5 p.m., the trails will be closed when an extreme heat warning is in effect. Officials say the closures are prudent for both hikers and firefighters who rescue them.
Phoenix was nothing but sunny skies this week, but is there more to come? Evan Liss is in the Weather Center with your Halloween weekend forecast.
I have what you need to know for the weekend and beyond. We have a warm weekend coming up, meaning that we're going to have a warm homecoming tomorrow, a warm Halloween the day after, before we have a series of storm systems move through the West Coast next week, bumping down our temperatures to the seasonal averages. High pressure over us at the moment. That's keeping our skies clear and our temperatures up going into the weekend. Early next week, we have a series of storm systems, not that big, coming through the Intermountain West. They won't really affect us other than bringing some cloudiness into the region and bumping down our temperatures. At the end of next week, though, we have a much larger storm system that models are picking up on. We don't know really the impacts for us in Arizona yet in terms of precipitation, cloudiness, temperatures, but it's something we're going to want to keep an eye on going into next week. Kickoff is at noon tomorrow for the homecoming game. 88 degrees in Phoenix. Dress accordingly. It's a blackout game, so short sleeves and shorts probably should be what you're going to want to wear. We have a nice little fire in our Halloween graphic here. We're not going to need it in Phoenix this year because we're going to be at 84 degrees at 5 p.m., 77 degrees at 7 p.m., and then still in the 70s by 9 p.m. 11 when you're either leaving or going to Halloween party. We're going to be in the upper 60s. Not the hottest Halloween we've ever had, but certainly on the warmer side. 86 degrees for our high on Halloween. And before we have those series of storm systems move through at the beginning of next week, bringing us the cloudiness and pulling our temperatures down to the low 80s, which we like to see. Models haven't picked up yet on the bigger storm system at the end of next week. But again, you're going to want to keep an eye on the weather app for that. I'm Evan Liss in the Cronkite News Weather Center.
All this week, we're highlighting efforts to stop misinformation. It's all part of Media Literacy Week. Tonight, Jordan Spurgeon explains how misinformation spreads and how you can help stop it.
Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all of these social media platforms allow us to see news easier. But how can you tell what's real or fake? According to the Shorenstein Center, misleading news or misinformation has been around for years. But now misinformation is spreading faster than before. Researchers found many Americans spread misinformation simply because they are not paying attention. They advise that before posting or interacting with the information to think about the news accuracy. Here are some more tips to avoid spreading disinformation. Be a fact checker. Check to see if the information is current, relevant, and accurate. You can also Google the information. Check to see if multiple reputable sources are reporting on the same thing. Lastly, distinguish fact from opinion.
You can find more information about media literacy and how to fight misinformation on our website, cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
I'm Amna Sapan. Coming up after the break, I'll have your Cronkite Sports Report.
how a former prized recruit is finally making an impact on the field for the Sun Devils.
Passport is adding new shows and doubling the number of episodes for you to stream. For the first time ever, our most popular programs have been selected just for you.
But there's so much more.
Whether you like to travel,
Wow.
feast,
And calories don't count.
look back,
That is me.
discover,
You know the whole story.
there's something for everyone.
Let's get to it right away.
Stream on any device with Passport on the PBS Video app.
What you get from Washington Week that you will not get anywhere else are the best and the brightest reporters from different media companies, and they're able to have a real conversation about things that are happening in Washington and around the country. But it's also a show about issues that are relevant to different communities.
How do you think that
As the moderator, I feel this deep responsibility to bring in those other perspectives so that people understand how power and politics impact their daily lives.
Friday nights at 7 on Arizona PBS.
Cronkite News provides students at ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism with the opportunity to gain real-world experience in the newsroom. At Cronkite News, our students produce professional content for audiences by taking on all roles, whether they be reporting, anchoring, producing, or studio production. Each department gives students first-hand professional newsroom experience. For more information, visit cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Welcome back. I'm Amna Sapan, and here is your Cronkite Sports Report. It was a heartbreaking end to the Cardinals-Packer game last night. Miscommunication between Kyler Murray and A.J. Green turned a game-winning touchdown catch into a game-ending interception. And everyone is taking the first loss of the season pretty hard. And the Cards moved to 7-1, but that play wasn't the only reason the team lost. By the numbers, the Packers dominated time of possession over 15 minutes more than Arizona, thanks to a rushing offense that doubled what the Cards were able to do on the ground. Reigning MVP Aaron Rodgers did not have his best game, but it was efficient and mistake-free compared to Kyler Murray's 3 turnovers. Elijah Badger went from prized recruit to watching from the sidelines. Now this ASU receiver is getting his shot to become a major weapon in the Sun Devil offense. Cronkite News reporter Chaz Messman has more on Herm Edwards' new option.
It's been a long road to finally making it on the field for Arizona State wide receiver Elijah Badger. He missed all of last season due to academic ineligibility and missed the start of the 2021 season due to injury. But now, the redshirt freshman is finally getting an opportunity to show what he can do.
You know, we love Elijah. We think that he's made strides with his transition from off the field things to, you know, understanding how important it is to, you know, to pair the two together, and then, you know, just this time management deal.
I've been working lately. Just been trying to get on the field, learn the playbook, and I feel like it's hard as a receiver, period, because it's more plays that you got to learn, and it's not just your position, really, you have to learn.
When the former 4-star recruit has been on the field for the Sun Devils, he's made a major impact, scoring 2 touchdowns on only 5 touches.
It's a fun, easy game for him, you know, right now, and it's cool to see. You know, it's cool to see as a coach, because the talent, you know, whether it's his hands, whether it's just his route running ability or just playmaking ability, and it's tough to teach.
On his first ever collegiate touch, Badger scored a touchdown against Colorado, and despite his humility, it was a moment he will remember for the rest of his life.
It was blessed, really. I was just watching everybody on the sideline. I wasn't really sad for myself, but I knew I had to get back and do what I had to do.
As the season moves along, Badger is expected to get more involved in Zach Hill's offense, and he's definitely one to watch out for in the next couple of seasons. In Tempe, Chaz Messman, Cronkite News.
Badger and the rest of ASU football will take on Washington State tomorrow at noon at Sun Devil Stadium in what will be the first day game for the Sun Devils this season. Other games to look for this weekend: the 1-3 Suns take on Cleveland tomorrow at home. The Coyotes are in action against the Capitals and will play Sunday in Carolina. And finally, the Phoenix Rising host Tacoma Defiance in the regular season finale.
A win gives them their second Western Conference title in 3 years. And that does it for your Cronkite Sports Report. Back to you, Lauren and Molly.
Feeling witchy? It's that time of year again, and Halloween is back. While we normally associate broomsticks and spooky spells with witches, Cronkite News reporter Breanna Isbell spoke to a real-life witch who debunks all the myths.
It's not anything like you see in the movies.
Szymanski-Lockett is the high priestess of the Sacred Spiral Pagan Church of Arizona. Throughout her lifetime as a witch, she has defied the stereotypes of witchcraft, debunking myths and revealing the truth of her practice.
The magic is the manipulation of energy, drawing the energy into ourselves to achieve those goals.
From the beginning of time, witches have had a bad reputation, and that when they cast a spell, bad things will happen. But according to Szymanski-Lockett, that is very far from the reality.
You do a spell to make it happen, but then you go and you turn in your resumes and, you do the footwork. You don't just sit at home and say, okay, I've done the spell, now it's going to happen.
Believe it or not, their practice is more similar to others than we think.
The main difference is most religions will pray to God to help them, to give them what they want. Pagans, we don't pray to our gods. We invite them to help us and to assist us.
The evolution of witchcraft stereotypes dates as far back as the 12th century. With Halloween among us, Szymanski-Lockett says it's important to know the truth.
And we call upon the elements, air, fire, water, earth, and spirit, to guide us in what we do. And we also call upon the god and goddess because we believe the duality of our deity.
Szymanski-Lockett wants to put emphasis on the harmlessness of her practice. She says paganism is just like other religions in many ways. In Phoenix, Breanna Isbell, Cronkite News.
Szymanski-Lockett says she hopes others will take the time to learn more about her beliefs.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us. For more top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.